Looks like Kenneth Phillips, our #1 qualifier here today, is going to have a competition single because Ray Ballou unable to make the call. So Kenneth Phillips, the #1 qualifier here in A-Gas, he avoided the water box, so I think he's just going to take a leisurely drive and take the green, and that's just what he does. And he'll move on to round number 2. As a matter of fact, Kenneth's going to be very fortunate. Unfortunately, Ray Ballou unable to make it here. Competition single first round, and by virtue of being that #1 qualifier, he's going to get a bye in round number 2. So Kenneth Phillips has a a great day right into a semifinal, and that is the perks of being the #1 qualifier here today with this number of cars.
In the pits at South Georgia Motorsports Park, it is the Southeast Gassers Association Spring Nationals. Leslie Horn, owner, and, well, qualifying not at the top. It has been rough since testing and qualifying.
I tell you, I told Brian earlier, I think it's the shenanigans from winning the last 5 in a row because we have really put us in it. 2 transmissions, no brakes. I don't have hardly no brake pedal now. I put 2 master cylinders on it, done broke a shifter completely off, so I got the shifter all taped up and all. We're going to just go do what we can do and make it roll.
Round 1, eliminations of A-Gas next.
All right, Ben Christopher and Doyle Lynn, first pair out here in A-Gas. Doyle Lynn turns on the red light, giving Ben Christopher 3 shot at it. Here he goes. Ben Christopher takes the win right there, and he'll move on to second round. And Leslie Horn will be over in the Quick Time Performance left lane in his Chick Magnet, the 1955 Chevy. He's going to be racing Chase Howard in the 67 Chevy Chevelle, the USA 1, who sits in the Larice Motorsports insurance lane. Third pair out right here on this one. Chase Howard and Leslie Horn, and this could be a finals matchup at any race here with the Southeast Gassers. Both guys with that Gene Fulton power underneath the hood. Both guys 477 cubic inches. This one could come down to a driver's race as we all talk about how we put the drivers back in control. Well, you may very well see that be the case right here on the line now. Admittedly struggling a little bit today as Leslie Horn, uncharacteristically the #7 qualifier. Robin Harris out front of the car, Brian Harris behind as they try to get him pointed in the right direction. Trent Howard out front for his brother, getting him lined up with the help of Scotty Cannon behind the car. Speaking of Scotty Cannon, I know that with he and Alan Pittman and Quayne Stott, that makes up 8 Pro Modified World Championship years that is in attendance here today at South Georgia Motorsports Park. Just a tribute to the kind of performance you're seeing out of these cars, and these guys are some of the best in the world. Nobody wanted to go into the stage ball. Finally, they both go in simultaneously. Leslie Horn with a starting line advantage, and that carries him to a win. I'm telling you, folks, the 60-foot numbers were 1/10,000th off. Then it got to be stretched out just a little bit, and at the end, Leslie Horn taking the win as he run right there, a world record-setting run. And speaking of a quest for world championship or a quest for world record elapsed time, Greg Stelz has been on a mission, and admittedly, he told him, he said, I'm coming here to reset the world record. He said that 2 years ago. Stelz unable to do that so far, but it's not because of lack of trying. Greg Stelz, a tireless worker, and that 1957 Pontiac that he possesses right there, that's being backed up by his wife, is a testament to that. Gene Fulton power underneath the hood of that 477 cubic inches right there, as he's going to take a shot in the same lane as Leslie Horn just went down to try to chase that record. It's going to be a competition single right here for him, as the number 3 qualifier, Barry Adler, has had a motor go south on him, and it's kind of unfortunate too. Adler never made it to eliminations, as this was his first race ever with the Southeast Gassers. A definitely a good runner, qualifying in the 3 spot, but unable to make it as he has had a motor expire on him. The 5-6 matchup finds Alan Pittman out of Greenville, South Carolina, in the 41 Willis, the Pittman and Sword entry, in the Larice Motorsports Insurance left or right lane. And the number 6 qualifier, Barry Lynn, in the little red wagon out of Greer, South Carolina. He's going to find himself in the quick time performance lane. This is going to be a good matchup right here. Now, question is, can Pittman get this car down the racetrack and get it handling correctly? Because if he bobbles just the least little bit, Barry Lynn been making some very consistent elapsed times, and is some of his fastest that he's ever been in this 65 wagon, and he can definitely put Pittman on the trailer with a good run. Just as I said, Alan Pittman, unfortunately, unable to get that car down the racetrack. But Barry Lynn looks as if he turned on the red light. So Barry Lynn gives that race over to Alan Pittman. And I know Barry's going to be kicking himself. An 0-12 on the red for Barry Lynn gives the race win over to Alan Pittman. That gives lane choice in the semifinals. At 58 Corvette, the Silver Streak 2 of Kenneth Phillips. He's out of Campobello, South Carolina. Gene Fulton Power underneath the hood for him. Keeley right out front, one of our backup girls, bringing Kenneth Phillips back. She has a special interest in that Silver Streak 2. And the driver. So Kenneth Phillips being brought up to the line by Keeley. Danny and Bully behind the car right there. There's a lot of guys look back at those guys and they have a lot of comfort in seeing Mike Bully Wiles and Danny Preston behind the car. They know how to get a car down the racetrack, make the adjustments on it in race day to help that car go straight. So Kenneth Phillips sets a good number right there. As far as this gone today, the only one I've seen a lot faster than that might be the Chick Magnet, but again, see the Chick Magnet of Leslie Horn, the defending world champion, sitting in the quick time performance or left lane in his 55 Chevy. Gene Fulton Power for him. Gene Fulton Power also for his competitor Greg Stelz in his 1957 Pontiac, the Joker, out of Wapaka, Wisconsin. Leah Stelz helping bring up her husband Greg to the line right here in the Larice Motorsports Insurance right lane. Robin Harrison helping bring up Leslie Horn. Brian Harris behind the race car. Husband and wife combo right there. Brian sets it up, she brings them up. Greg Stelz has a chance to slay the dragon right here, one of his best friends, until they reach the burnout box. And when they reach the return road, they'll be friends again. But right now, he's dead set on cutting his throat. The tension is thick right here as we get ready for this second round matchup to see who's going to take on Kenneth Phillips in one of the semifinals to come. Nobody wanting to go in right here, playing a little staging duel, it looks like. Nobody even lit the pre-stage. Don't know what we got going on here, but we go, oh, Greg Stelton goes into pre first. Horn's going to take his time, go through his routine. There he goes. Horn goes in and lights the stage first. Reaction time advantage, a 1/10,000th of a second reaction time advantage for Leslie Horn. And that's all he's going to need as he dispatches Greg Steltz right there in that matchup.
This beautiful machine is drove by Alan Pittman. Yes, that Alan Pittman of Pro Mod fame. Alan going on to the second round, still trying to get a handle on the old girl in gasser mode.
Yeah, it seemed like a chore here the last few days. Thought it was a track earlier. We've changed some things. We're getting closer. Getting closer.
Getting close. You've got a tough customer in round 2 in Mr. Ben Christopher.
Yeah, that's could be one of the toughest ones here. We shook a while ago, so we put more clutch in it, and it cut the battery cable and popped it off. So we're going to try to outrun him. That's all we can do at this point, right?
That is right. He's going to try to outrun Ben Christopher here in the staging lanes at South Georgia Motorsports Park for the Spring Nationals presented by Harbin's Mechanical. AGAS Eliminations next.
Question always becoming, can Alan Pittman keep that car straight and give Ben Christopher a run, or can Ben Christopher keep his car straight and see the elapsed time that we anticipate that car putting together? Leslie Horn already has a potential world record here today. Ben Christopher trying to beat that potential world record with one of his own in elapsed time. Identical reaction times. Alan Pittman ahead at the 60-foot mark, and Ben Christopher ahead from the 330 on, and that's all it took. Is Ben Christopher is going to move on to the semifinals. South Carolina native Leslie Horn going to be in the Larice Motorsports Insurance lane. Crew Chief Logan Horn right there behind us, chick magnet, making sure that burnout's nice and straight. Brian Harris behind the race car, and his wife Robin going to bring back Leslie Horn. Kenneth Phillips backup girl Keeley going to bring him back as he is in the quick time performance left lane. Both these guys possessing Gene Fulton power underneath the hoods of these AGAS behemoths. Kenneth Phillips already into the pre-stage. Leslie Horn going to take his time, go through his routine. Leslie Horn with a starting line advantage. That's all it takes as Leslie Horn marches through to victory in a race that was separated in elapsed time by 0.03 of a second. Christopher electing to stay in the Larice Motorsports Insurance lane right here. Christopher also from Boiling Springs, South Carolina, the 66 Chevy 2 with the Jason Line power plant underneath the hood. Christopher switching over to this new engine builder, Jason Line, who from Pro Stock fame, former world champion in Pro Stock for many years there with the crew of Greg Anderson out of the Mooresville, North Carolina area. Robin Harris, the backup girl. Richie Pugh behind the car, making sure everything stays straight as they bring Ben Christopher back in his tracks. Christopher will have to lay down his best elapsed time of the day if he intends to take lane choice from Leslie Horn. Christopher clears out the carburetors up top of that line motor and prepares to go into the pre-stage. And Ben Christopher will have lane choice here going into the finals over Leslie Horn by the narrowest of margins. So another great matchup coming up.
In the A-Gas final, it's Leslie Horn in the Chick Magnet and Ben Christopher in the Happy Days Hot Rod. This is, well, a final we are accustomed to in SEGA drag racing, and Leslie's been getting you the last few times. I know you are due for a win.
4 times in a row last year I run it up to him. It's got to go away. Got to change the luck, whatever. It's got to change. So I'm hoping today's going to be the day, bud.
Ben, it is not 2024, it's 2025. Change it today.
That sounds like a plan, buddy. I appreciate it.
A-Gas finals next here at South Georgia Motorsports Park,
where he is quite frankly favored all day. Both these drivers from the same hometown of Boiling Springs, South Carolina. Good friends, sometimes even the best of friends, but no friends right now as they roll through the water box and get it on. Leslie Horn chooses the Gene Fulton power plant, 477 cubic inches in the quick time performance left lane. Ben Christopher has chosen Jason Line as his motor builder, or engine builder, I should say. These cars separated by 1/1000th of a second in their elapsed time in the semifinals. And this one looks to be a barn burner. Alexis Phillips backing up Ben Christopher. Robin Harris backing Leslie Horn up. You can cut the tension with a knife on the starting line right now as 2 of the fastest cars in A-Gas for the Southeast Gassers sit primed and ready to take the green light here at South Georgia Motorsports Park. Nobody going in first. Christopher lights the pre-stage first. Horn going through his routine. Still has not lit the pre. There we go, both are in pre. Who's going to stage up first? We're working on about 10 seconds here, folks. Horn goes in first, Christopher follows. Leslie Horn with a starting line advantage, a 006 on the reaction time by Horn. And Leslie Horn with a whole shot win right there as Ben Christopher out-ET'd him, but a 006 on the reaction time to Ben Christopher's 145, and that is the difference in this one. Leslie Horn takes a whole shot win here today in A-Gas.
Your winner in A-Gas here at South Georgia Motorsports Park for the Spring Nationals presented by Harbin's Mechanical. He is saying that it's his first win. And yes, it is the first win of the season for an individual that last year won 6 races, 5 straight, a championship in A-Gas. Mr. Leslie Horn, you start this year off right.
Yeah, and it wasn't without struggles. We started off actually last night. We went through 2 transmissions. We broke one, and then we put the backup in, and we had forgotten the reason why the backup was in the backup, because we didn't fix it when we broke it the last time. So it's really only one transmission, but then we had a master cylinder went bad, put a new master cylinder on it, couldn't get brakes on it. I still don't have good brakes on it, but I was able to pump them up enough to get through. I was really worried about lining up with the line lock. I was afraid it wouldn't hold, but it held and done good, and the driver came to play today too. I mean, all my lights was good today, and I probably had my best light that I've ever had against Ben Christopher. And he come up to me and he said, "Horn, when's the last time you had a 00 light?" I said, "When I was scared."
Leslie, you are the owner of the Southeast Gassers Association. Many know that. First time ever at a premium facility such as South Georgia Motorsports Park. Your thoughts on the show this weekend?
Well, I didn't get to see it a lot. I know that there was a lot of media here, a lot of coverage. The live seemed to really be a hit. I had a lot of people messaging me telling me how much they liked the live. I know there's a lot of comments on it. Raul and his wife done an excellent job here. Their staff, everybody was real respectful and real good, and I think it went really smooth. I hadn't got a chance to talk to Raul and his wife yet, but I feel like it was good, and I hope that maybe we can make this a yearly thing. We'll just have to see how everything looks.
Leslie Horn, your winner in A-Gas here at the Spring Nationals presented by Harbin's Mechanical at South Georgia Motorsports Park. Our next race will be, well, back home, as we like to say in SEGA, Shadyside Dragway, just outside of Shelby, North Carolina. For all things Southeast Gassers, make sure you follow on Facebook, Instagram, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm Lee Kraft, reporting from South Georgia Motorsports Park for SEGA. Hey, SEGA fan, Lee Kraft here. What you just watched on the Southeast Gassers Association YouTube channel is a trimmed down version of whichever category you just watched from our live stream at South Georgia Motorsports Park. Be sure to subscribe right here to the SEGA YouTube channel. More races will be streamed, and when not, you will still be able to see the great racing action that SEGA displays. There is no rival.